to the Raiders. You've got the Viking clap. They beat my team last week.
Oh, it's easy.
I'm not going to say controversially, but I've spoken to people that work in the bunker, and they both said that try should have counted when the ball was knocked out of Manu's hands. So take to it as you will. You've got 3 bunker, 4 people. 2 of them said it should have been a try.
I think it's finally what goes around comes around. Roosters getting the rub of the green, salary cap sombrero. Now cause not going against them. It's come back 180. It's come or should I say come back 180. It's halfway there.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting game. Obviously, it was Sunday 6:15, so it was a bit different to what we're all used to, a very late Sunday game. The weather probably suited Canberra, and I'm not saying that it didn't suit the Roosters, but it was finally a cold game in Sydney where Canberra could come down, and it felt like you were sitting in the capital. You were sitting there, you were shaking in the stands. They came out.
Did you have your seat warmers from Uncle Nick? Did you have a seat warmer from Uncle Nick?
I was waiting for someone to walk around with a cappuccino and a bit of a furphy or something like that, but they didn't have them this week, so I had to sit there in the cold. But Baxter, obviously, Canberra, they are a side that have shown they can win games. This does put them into the top 8, but what do you make of this side as a whole? Obviously, Croker, he's playing above what we expected from his age. Sebastian Kris is playing well. Wyden's playing well. Fogarty, those bombs he put up against Latrell, everyone talks about Matt Burton. I've seen Matt Burton put a bomb up. I'm putting Jamal Fogarty on the same panel as how high his ball goes, because I think there was a few balls that went up and they almost landed in the Sydney Cricket Ground. How high?
You mean Teddy, not Latrell?
What was that?
You mean Teddy, not Latrell?
Oh, sorry, Teddy. Yeah,
I didn't know Latrell played for the Roosters again.
But
another salary cap sombrero. Yeah.
He was putting these bombs up, and honestly, it was clearing the stadium. They were miles above the stadium, and okay, Teddy should have jumped, but I look at it and I go, "Holy fuck!" Like, these kicks are coming from 40 meters out. They're going about 60 meters in the air, and they're landing 2 meters outside the goal line. So they're perfect kicks. But what do you make of this Raiders side? Like, do you see them? They've been progressing week in, week out. Do you think they're kind of hot, cold, and they're going to stumble into the top 8 but aren't going to do much after that? Or do you think they are a team that can push into finals and push past week 1?
Yeah, look, I thought Minicello, in his heyday would have caught them, one hand tied behind his back on his chest.
Lindsay Collins might have caught him.
Oh, again, future Rooster captain. Yeah, again, I think this is another. I think the Canberra Raiders are in the same boat as the Melbourne Storm, as they're winning. They're under the radar at the moment. They're coming 6th at the current time with a bad for it against with minus 69. But yeah, as I quickly look down, they beat the Dolphins by a point. They beat the Dogs by 4. Then they beat Para. Then they got smashed by Manly. They beat Rabbits on that stunner. Then they beat the Tigers. Got done by the Warriors in that in Croker's 300. Was Croker's 300 game, and then they beat your guys. So they are a bit of a hit and a miss, but when they win, they're not winning big margins, and when they're losing, they are losing by big margins. So you sort of go, oh, are they really, really there? And they win. It's nice and comfortable. But yeah, as you said, Sebastian Kris, he's a centre playing fullback. Jared Croker on his last legs. Jack Wyden, I think he's put all that drama behind him after announcing the sign for South Sydney. He's now showing 2019 Jack Wyden, where he was snubbed to winning the Dally M Player of the Year. He wins the Clive in a losing side. Jamal Fogarty is trying to play for that 7 jersey because Canberra's among many other teams who are looking for a strong 7. Joseph Tarpany is playing well. Corey Horsburgh, who I'm tipping to get a call-up for Game 3 in the starting 17. But again, this is a bunch of blokes coming together to play for Ricky, play for, I believe, a future New South Wales head coach in the Blues. So make it what you will, but will they be playing finals football? I believe so. Will they be playing with a do or die? We'll just have to wait and see. But again, playing some good football. Can't no really knocks on them. I think they've figured out what their weaknesses are, and they're moving forward each and every week. And a good game to play 3 p.m. Sunday down there in the capital against the Gold Coast Titans. So both teams coming off a win, and it'll be good to see. I reckon this is the game of the round for Saturday's game. This will be the game of the round to watch.
I was going to say you're a very brave man to say this is the game of the round when you've got Penrith taking on Melbourne in Melbourne, which will be an absolute cracker. But I do have to agree with you now. I think the closeness of the competitions kind of makes me sit there and go, will they play finals? Will they not? I look at the teams outside and I go, the Sharks could probably jump them. Your boys, the Cowboys, could probably jump them. If the Roosters pull their finger out, it's 1 or 2 wins, and half of that top 8 could disappear. So it's definitely something where if you're not consistent, if you're not putting runs on the board week in, week out, for and against could come back to hurt you come the end of the season. But they are doing all right. They got the win. Jack Whiten looks like he has put all that transfer drama behind him now that he has signed for South Sydney. And I do expect him to have another cracking game here. But like you said, Baxter, they are playing the Gold Coast Titans. Now, this is a Gold Coast Titans. They've showed they can score points. They've showed they can concede points. What we're yet to see is a Gold Coast Titans that can hold a lead. And I think we finally saw it this week.
We saw it at the weekend. I don't know what you're talking about. That was great.
Do it for 2-3 weeks in a row and I'll be impressed because
they're playing for right now. We'll touch on it. They're playing for Desi. Like, really, Desi could come in and go, AJ Brimson, you're not the fullback. Jaden Campbell is. Oh, Tanner Boyd, you're not the 7. I'll bring in Ben Hunt. Tina, you're not the starting front rower. You bring in someone else. Really, they're playing to keep a spot for next year and trying to impress and trying to tell Desi why they should be in the starting lineup. Because we always talk about AJ Brimson, Jaden Campbell, who should be the fullback going forward. My personal opinion, it should be Jaden Campbell. I wouldn't have Kieran Foran in the halves. Pairing Tanner Boyd and probably AJ Brimson, I think he's a better 6, which brings Jaden Campbell into it. But then you lose that sort of outside back explosiveness that Jaden is producing in the last few weeks, coming off the bench at 14. So good to see. Sam Verrills back last week, really controlled the ruck speed and showed how to move up as one in a unit. Tanner Boyd played well. Kieran Foran did well as well. Aaron Schlopp, unlucky to try disallowed. I thought it was a try, but unlucky. But man, oh man, Titans, they can play like that every single week, whether they win or lose, like lose by 2 or win by whatever. You could probably say they're at their peak and they could push for finals football. So, what were your thoughts on last week's game against the Broncos from a Titans point of view?
I thought they played well, and I think, like you said, it's the first time, I guess, they have held on to a lead. They have stayed in a game, so I think that is, I guess, positive for the Titans. I think in weeks past, they would have been in that game and then lost the second half by about 24 points, and we sit here and go, unlucky, man, you got absolutely belted. But it's impressive. I think Sam Verrills coming in there does a lot. And I said this to you even when he left the Roosters, and you said it to me. It was a massive loss because as much as he was a young player, as much as he wasn't that player that is constantly going to win you a game, he's a player that's going to lay the foundation so that the other players can win you those games. He's going to go quick from dummy half. He's going to take on the line. Like this kid, and I think it was, he had played less than 20 games, had the audacity in the 2019 grand final to take the ball from dummy half on the 4th tackle and get the first try of the grand final. Like he breathes.
Did he do it pissed as well? Like he was like pissed before the game as well. Like that bloke.
For everyone that doesn't get the joke that he Baxter is referencing to, he's got a twin brother. They are identical, and he was at the pub having a few drinks before the grand final, and someone went, hey, Semi, don't you have a game? And he turned around and went, yeah, mate, Robbo lets me get on the beers before the game. He goes, and some bloke's now sitting there out of the pub going, I was having drinks with him 2 hours ago. So he's got the mentality, he's got the youthfulness on his side, and I'm excited to see how far he can go and hope that he does stay injury-free. But Baxter, we've got 2 great games. They're coming off a massive win. Can the Titans do it again? Can they get a win today or on Saturday, or are they going to get defeated in this game?
Nah, I'm going to go for the home faithful Raiders. They're going to go 1-12. I just think being down in Canberra should give them the win, but anything's possible. So, it'll be, as I said, it'll be the match of the round for Saturday.
Well, it's a big shout. You have called match of the round. I am going to... How far am I behind you? Did we say 5?
You are currently at 5 points behind. And that's thanks to State of Origin with my Queensland all the way in 1-12 and 13 plus. So, yeah, baby.
No, you know what? I'm gonna pick my battles. I am gonna go with the home side, but I'm gonna go in a 13 plus. I'm gonna go that they get it 13 plus.
Raiders.
To the Raiders, mate. The home team, the Viking club. They've done enough to show me that they're going to be able to get the result. Obviously, the only thing that not changed my mind because what we say on the podcast is final, but the only thing I think could work against is if Jared Croker doesn't play this game because there is rumours there could be delayed concussion side effects there. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Baxter, we're both in agreement that the Raiders are going to get the win, but I think we're also both in agreement it's going to be an absolute cracking game.